Their goal is a total blackout of Ukraine. Their methods include the most destructive strikes on energy facilities since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Russia is systematically destroying our ability to produce electricity, transmit it, and supply the regions. No other power system in the world has suffered such devastation. We endured the energy terror in the winter of 2022-23. We stayed united last year and made it through the winter steadily. We will do it again. We will not be left in the darkness. Energy is precious.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting our energy conference of Ukraine. My name is Alexandra Gumenyuk. I'm from European Energy, invited to moderate this prominent and valuable conference for Ukraine. And yesterday was the first day when the high policy level representatives from different countries, international financial organizations, they had an opportunity to speak about how important to continue investments and support to Ukraine and Ukrainian energy system. As investments in different economic sectors, business is continuing and it depends on energy resources. So right now I would like to invite speakers and moderator for the panel discussion, main focuses and challenges of Ukraine energy system recovery. Olga Ponomarchuk, International Cooperation Department Head, Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, will be the moderator of the panel. I invite you to the scene, please. Vitaly Butenko, CEO of joint stock company, Energy Company of Ukraine, Market Solutions for Scaling Distributed Energy Generation in Ukraine. Dear speakers, you are welcome to take your seats on the scene. Oleg Pavlenko, Chief Investment Officer, NPC Ukrenergo. Oleg Terletsky, member of the Supervisory Board, Ukrhydroenergo. Yevgeny Harakavy, CEO of Center Energo. CEO of TSO operator of Ukraine, Dmitro Lipa. And Serhiy Nazarenko, head of the Office for Identification and Countering Threats of Critical Infrastructure Objects, Ukrenergo. Olga and speakers, I wish to you a very fruitful discussion.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear partners, we are extremely grateful for joining this discussion, which is dedicated to extremely important topic, which is dedicated to our urgent recovery projects in energy sector. Today, during the discussion, we will cover three main areas. The discussion on the current recovery projects in the energy sector, the critical challenges which Ukraine faces now, and our strategic plans for rebuilding and for modernization. And now, I would like to offer to start with current energy sector recovery projects. And my first question will address to Mr. Oleg Pavlenko. Oleg, what are currently the primary needs of Ukrainian transmission system in the context of our daily shellings? And what projects are you planning to implement in order to ensure resilient and sustainable energy infrastructure? You are also welcome with presentation.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big pleasure to be present here. Indeed, Ukrenergo is a transmission system operator, basically having as its asset more than 20,000 kilometers of overhead transmission lines of the voltage class from 220 to 750 kV voltage class. Yes, including this unique voltage class, which is not represented in Europe, and more than 90 substations currently. We are probably the first company in the energy sector in Ukraine to face such devastating attack against our asset. The movie that has just been shown is a clear demonstration of how actually it looks like in reality. Behind that stands the fact that since September 2022, we've been surviving many waves of combined attacks against our substations with the use of very modern equipment such as heavy drones, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and even cluster ammunition. So whatever the enemy has in its arsenal has been already used against our transmission system, but nevertheless, it is still alive. And when it comes to the question, the main project for the company now is to restore and protect. This is what we've been doing for 2.5 years now, and definitely we will be doing as long as it is needed. We are glad to say that in this project we have a very strong support coming from our long-standing partners, international financial institutions, because we've been having a long record of joint cooperation in the past in delivering very important infrastructure projects in the energy sector of Ukraine. I will give a very brief overview in the presentation of what is the contribution of our partners. So you see that over this 2.5 years of the full-scale invasion, we have increased our portfolio from 1.4 billion euro to 2.3. That is basically, when it comes to distribution, for 540 million grants, for 844 million of loans, and then there is also reprofiling of whatever has been attracted at the time of the outbreak of full-scale invasion towards different goals, obviously towards restoration. We continue working together with IBRD, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, European Investment Bank, and German bank KfW. This is basically what has been done over these years in terms of the specific projects. And you might see here that the main goals of them is restoration, protection, and reconstruction. I will come back to the issue of the reconstruction a bit later. We also need to say that there is a strong support coming from our donor partners, such as USAID, Energy Community, UNDP and JICA. You see the values of the support that they have given to the energy sector over these years. And the equipment supplied under the framework of this cooperation is critically important now to restore the system. Just for, as an interesting fact, the amount and the magnitude of the effort that we're doing now for the energy sector is absolutely unprecedented. If before the full-scale invasion, we had, let's say, on average, been replacing approximately 5 auto transformers per year. Now the value is more than 100. Probably the capacity of the company now is one of the highest globally, obviously because of the challenges that we're facing now. You see how many attacks have been successful on the energy grid. Once again, nevertheless, we still stay alive. Moreover, while continuing the restoration and protection project, we are now focusing on coming back to our regular CapEx activities starting from 2025. And this is something that we have already agreed with our partners in international financial institutions. We are coming back to reconstruction of our substations, something that has been put on pause temporarily, but now we take advantage of the time for a proper preparation for restarting the project. In 2025, first selections will, first competitive bidding processes will be launched, and we welcome participation of all the companies, including contractors, manufacturers, engineering companies, to help us with this critically important assignment. The equipment we still need, as we see the shellings continue, and even today is no exception, is auto transformers, circuit breakers, disconnectors, bushings, relay protection devices, everything you might see on a regular transmission level substation. When it comes to how we're going to work in the future, then definitely that is the restoration of substation automation system that I have mentioned before. And I will be quick because I'm running out of time, several projects that we also plan to start about building new overhead transmission lines. I will ask the organizers to share this presentation with whoever wants, because there is really precious and important information that you might learn from it. Apart from a specific project, there will be a section where you might see the links to procurement platforms that we are using intensely in our restoration and new CapEx program activities. So please feel free to contact us whenever you have a question. We will provide whatever information is needed to you, because we put much trust in a successful cooperation with you in an attempt to fully recover from the massive attacks and build a better energy system that will be resilient, capable of absorbing new energy sources, and of course, well-balanced. Thank you very much.
Alex, thank you very much, really, for your presentation and for titanic efforts of your team. And I would like to give the floor to Mr. Vitaly Betenko. Vitaly, please. You, as a CEO of energy company of Ukraine, can you describe how your company can help to integrate distributed generation projects into Ukrainian energy system, and what contribution is expected from our international partners and our funding institutions?
Thank you. The story started a few months ago when I received a call from the National Security Council of Ukraine with a question: can a coup take a look at the distributed generation market and render its opinion what can be done from the point of view of the state in order to make sure that it's actually developing and deploying in a pace that the strategy is expecting it to develop, because there seemed to be some slowdown. And indeed, the energy system of Ukraine, first, obviously, it's in a great need of the maneuverable capacities, estimated 1.4 gigawatt. The distributed generation, by its nature, it's a paradigm shift for the structure of the energy system in Ukraine, going from the few large producers to the whole bunch of smaller ones spread out for the reasons of security. So there is strategies in place. The government, the relevant government authorities, the ministry, the regulator are streamlining the process, the policy is in place, and yet things are not moving as fast. So we took because energy company in Ukraine, it's a market player, we took a very business approach, said, okay, let's look at the value chain for the distributed generation. It's pretty straightforward. First, there is a project preparation, which has a lot of items that needs to be put in place on the legal, technical, and regulatory side. Then you need to raise funds, proceed with the construction and connection. Then you have the issue with that needs to be addressed with the equipment operation. And ultimately, last but not least, it's obviously operating in the energy market. That seems to be a pretty straightforward laundry list for any type of generation, including distributed. However, if you put it in the context of the ultimate beneficiary, which is small cities, towns, critical infrastructure, when the mayor of the city looks at this list, this is a nightmare. Where do you start? Where do you get the people? So something that would be absolutely a walk in the park for the larger player, especially private investor or a player, for the small guys, this is mission impossible. And then we thought, okay, let's see what can be done about it. Who are the main stakeholders for the distributed generation? Obviously, there is the utilities, because power supply is critical to the infrastructure. You have industrial enterprises, but they're kind of okay. They have a capability to put together the team and install the distributed generation for their own captive needs. There is a Ukrenergo power system, which looks at this scenario, and it's also how do you balance, how do you manage many small units as an operator. So then you have investors who are willing to come in, but it's one thing you have one large counterparty and you put one big unit in place, or a couple of the other things that you have a lot of smaller ones, because then the list of headaches remains the same. It's just that the output is smaller. Then there is the donors and IFIs who have a mandate to help the critical infrastructure, to help the cities. But then who is the counterparty? Who do we work with? Because again, that's already a responsibility for making sure that the funds are deployed effectively and the projects have a commercial and technical viability in the longer term. And obviously the banks who would love to finance, they have access to the more cheaper capital specifically designated for the type of projects. So all these stakeholders seem to be somewhat stuck to a certain degree. And this is where we came up with the concept, okay, if we're a state-owned company, our focus is market-based energy supply, trading, and optimization. What if we create a platform to facilitate the execution of the value chain for the distributed generation with a primary focus on smaller cities, on the municipal community infrastructure, in order to bring the distributed generation, tie together all the stakeholders, relevant stakeholders, and bring the distributed generation to the market as soon as possible, providing the support, regular services, and last but not least, which is where our expertise truly comes in, is obviously the market operation, optimization, and balancing services. So this is how the business model for the national operator of distributed generation was put together and then presented to the National Security Council of Ukraine, was fully supported, further forwarded, supported by the Ministry of Energy, and we're in the process right now putting it together, where Energy Company of Ukraine would focus on combined three basic roles: as a commercial operator, aggregator, and potentially a recipient of the donors' money for installation with to support of the smaller cities. So in that sense, there is a one window. It's not a monopoly. It doesn't prevent the private players to enter this market, but this is what the state can do to facilitate this process. And just to put in a perspective, the Energy Company of Ukraine today, we are supplying power to the strategic and industrial clients, which combined represent 10% of the GDP of Ukraine. We're taking a top 5 position on the trading volumes. We are running, managing the largest balancing group. So we have the necessary market infrastructure in place. We are putting together the necessary support platform in order to bring to the market the distributed generation ASAP, and ultimately helping it to bring to the market for the commercial operation, for aggregation, helping the utilities, helping Ukrenergo, and ultimately helping the smaller cities infrastructure. That's the basic concept that we are now in the process of implementing. That's the response of the state to help bring the distributed generation to Ukraine in the shortest way and most efficient way possible. Thank you.
Vitaly, thank you very much for your detailed presentation and for all efforts that your company takes in order to develop the distributed generation in Ukraine. It's really one of our main challenges. And my next question will be addressed to Sergey. Sergey, you have got very interesting position. You are working on identifying security threats, yes, on our energy infrastructure. Can you please describe these threats and also the challenges which you are facing in your activity?
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I should say that Ukrainian energy system has been operating under condition of military aggression, but still provides the electricity for suppliers. It underlines that quick response for different kind of threats and regional cooperation between countries and between companies are the basis for security and stability of energy complex. Now, together with counter and military threats, the main task for Ukrainian energy system are similar to the most of European Union ones. First of all, it's ensuring the stability and resilience of energy supply for consumers. Then it's decarbonization of energy sector, increasing the power system flexibility and reducing the cost of electricity for consumers. These goals demands significant investment, both from international financial institutions and from private investors. Now we focus to increase the support of investment in development on various types of generation facility. First of all, is a need to construct the distributed generation facility up to 3 gigawatts to ensure the needs of critical infrastructure on level of territorial communities. Then it's implementation maneuverable capacity up to 2.4 gigawatts for balancing power system. Then we need to develop energy storage system up to 2 gigawatts and provide the reconstruction of DCO's network to ensure the connection of new generation facilities, develop smart grids and demand response technology. Another our goals, I mean Ukrainian energy system, it's increasing the installed capacity on wind power plants up to 6 gigawatts. All I mentioned about is impossible without financial stability of electricity market and without transparent mutual payments on the electricity market. Now it has been developed a set of measures for provided. First of all, it's increasing efficiency of guaranteed buyer strategy, ending the growth of debts in the balancing market by establishing the list of protected consumers and special accounts, financial balancing TCO's tariff, and repayment special obligation debts to the universal service providers. Also, we have a plan of using the part of TCO's tariff, dispatching tariff, to repay the debts on balancing market and to the guaranteed buyers. And we have a strong need for attraction financial support from international financial institutions. Also, what needs to be done? First of all, for implementation these measures, these goals, for reaching these goals, we need to provide the integration between electricity market of Ukraine and European Union. Then we need to develop the regulatory framework for implementation the remit law to avoid market manipulation, and introduction the effective loans and insurance against military risk. Development interconnectors and elimination the bottlenecks in Ukrainian energy system and neighboring energy systems. Then we need to provide, and we try to do this, the liberalization of grid connection, land allocation and permission procedures for construction new generation facility. Additionally, I want to say about need for attract investment in technical solution in security project to improve the safety of generation facility, transmission and distribution networks. Unfortunately, now Ukraine become a testing ground for different technical solutions for protection critical infrastructure. Some of them prove their effectiveness, but some of them, especially traditional ones that previously used in Ukraine and European Union, show the inability to ensure the stability of power system during crisis scenarios. Now our following prospection direction for possible investment in technical, we need to investment in such direction like engineering protection of critical infrastructure, physical security system, protection on personnel's connection and control systems, countering drone and electronic welfare systems, and it's understandable that air defense protection of energy facility. Such technical solution will not only increase the stability and security of Ukrainian energy system, but also became a basis for implementation a new safety standard of energy system in systems in European Union. And now this issue are widely discussed on different platforms like an NSAI, NATO and European Commission. So that we invite possible investors, possible donors for cooperation with us in this important direction. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sergey. I hope that after this discussion, our international support will only increase in the security issues. And maybe as you know, during our daily attacks, even our big hydropower facilities are damaged or even ruined. So I would like to address the next question to Oleg. Please, can you describe what problems are you facing, what strategies you want to implement in order to deal with all these challenges?
Dear colleagues, the invited, dear guests, thank you for our opportunity to share with you some of our insights we learned during this full-scale invasion. Ukhrhydroenergo is a state-owned company with successfully implemented corporate governance reform. This gives us some additional mobility because one of the first lessons from this tragedy is the possibility to implement fast decision-making process. It means that's not typical for the Ukrainian state-owned company to make quite big responsible decisions. So we took many responsibilities for supervisory board, and we started to react on any risk operations as soon as possible with the most responsibility to the consequences. What is Hydroenergo now? Ukhrhydroenergo continued to use 9 of previously existing 10 power stations. 2 of them are hydro pumping station. One of the not well known our power station, Kakhovka, was destroyed by Russian explosion. We work with many companies. We work with main producers of equipment. We continue to work with our partners from international financial institutions, and they support us in many our projects. We managed to make some amendment to our scope of works because typically hydropower plants are not well protected from their drone and missiles. So we learned a lot of things now. We started to relocate part of our facilities underground. Typically, it takes years for such facilities as ours. But we managed to do this for very short period. For other part of our facilities, like open gears and all facilities we are located all per day, we started to implement other non-typical, quite creative solutions. We understand that our people are the main our assets, because we must protect them against strikes. In some our power plants, the time of flight of missiles is less than 1 minute. So we try to build a lot of shelters just near to working places. And these pictures you can see some of results of on our objects, of our plants. You clearly understand that many of our hydropower facilities are unique. It takes a lot of time to design, to produce equipment for them, to install. And now we are working for protection of them. In our financial plan, the main our investments are related with protection of our existing activities and restorations of already destroyed and damaged things. You must understand that it's typical how hydropower plants in Ukraine, and we must protect them against these missiles. In the same time, we continue to implement new technologies. We continue to implement new approaches, which are because we are facing new changes of new electricity market of Ukraine. Basically, main solutions are also presented in this slide, which corresponded to the installation of hybrid systems, reconstructions of existing equipment. We continue to that we can build the third stage of Dniester hydropower plants, and sure, we are big optimists. We expect to rebuild as soon as possible all the destroyed Kakhovka dams. Thank you for your time. Thank you for cooperation. We are open for cooperation with many of you companies.
Alex, thank you for your presentation. I hope that we will be able to find an efficient solution in order to protect our hydropower, in order to avoid another disaster in our country. And my next question will be addressed to Evgeny. Evgeny, can you please describe us the situation in the Centroenergo projects and the challenges which you are facing, and maybe some plans for development and for securing your facilities?
Дякую за запитання. Вітаю, шановні колеги, партнери.
Thank you for your question, dear friends, colleagues. I'm very grateful for the possibility to participate in this important discussion. I hope that it will be fruitful with the regard of working out solution for the infrastructure. The company Centroenergo has experienced destructive damage, and the generation has been suspended for some time in order to generate energy for the whole territory of Ukraine. It was the subsequent effort of the Russian Federation to destroy Ukrainians. Meanwhile, our power stations were visited by numerous delegations, and we shared the results. And actually, while having discussions, there is one thing that they were unanimous about, is that it's about the industrial genocide. And it's a kind of the genocide that is slowly transforming into the genocide of the Ukrainian people as a nation on the whole. And actually, the missile attacks resulted in dramatic destructions, and with a destructive power that will be problematic to recover in the nearest future. For today, we have lost more than 2.5 watt of energy, and the massive attacks in spring were more painful for us. For the enemy have targeted precisely, and the equipment that has been damaged will be difficult to restore. These are serious challenges for us, for our entity, and for the energy sector on the whole. All Ukrainians have experienced the results of the missile attacks. For example, almost 18 hours, our population was deprived of the electricity in their houses. We face serious challenges for the equipment that has been destroyed by the enemy. Usually are the products of the post-Soviet era. And even in order to make them operate somehow, we are looking for other alternative ways to provide sustainability. And we do witness considerable losses in financial and electricity gain. We haven't managed to complete the defectation of the demolished items, and nowadays we are experiencing a serious lack of support in terms of financial aspect. We do appreciate there, but still we still need their support, because the changes that have been done to our infrastructure will, according to the previous estimate, will take from 7 to 8 years to restore. For the second issue we are facing is the personnel shortage. We do lack qualified workers, qualified staff that will operate the equipment. Currently, we understand that the main task is provision of
Посилення систем ППО – це дуже важливо.
PPO.
Втратимо час, і вся робота, яку ми будемо виконувати, буде марною. Сьогодні ми розуміємо, що нам потрібен комплексний підхід для вирішення поставлених задач для функціонування не лише нашого підприємства, а і енергетичної галузі в цілому. Сьогодні ми маємо мобілізувати всі наші ресурси. Сьогодні ми маємо
We need to engage all our resources We are supposed to engage all investments, and by using the chance, I would like to invite our partners to help us to cooperate and to work out for the solution to help Ukraine to be with electricity and to have central heating in our houses. We actually support the principle of generation division, and we do hope that we will be able to implement it with our ministry. The second issue is taking into consideration the potential of our sector. We have we have been working upon using of the biofuel and biomass. It's the second project we are currently working on, and with regard to the unique resources for implementing the project, I think that together with your assistance, we will be able to solve the issue to create sustainability of our energy sector. Together, we have the possibility to solve any issues in our sector. Thank you.
Євгене, щиро дякуємо. Thank you very much. Really, unfortunately, that Centroenergo projects are demonstrative to show these tragic consequences of the war. I would like to continue with the final block of our discussion, which is dedicated to market solutions on scaling the distributed energy generation in Ukraine. I would like to come back again to Vitaly, and my question is regarding the interest of foreign investors into the Ukrainian energy market, and what measures can we take in order to enhance it, and how do you see the role of energy company of Ukraine in this process in the future?
There's short-term view, mid-term view, and the longer-term view as to the Ukrainian energy market. Obviously, everything is overshadowed by the risk pertinent to the war. Yet at the same time, both on the level of the system operator of the grid and the market itself, Ukraine has shown a remarkable resilience because the market is still operating. And I remember when the war started, the discussions took place where should we shut down the market and move back to the regulatory version of it, and the decision was, however, the risk, let's keep the market running. Ukrenergo did a fantastic job switching off the legacy grid and connecting it to the NTCO, so we went to the European grid system, which basically provided additional support. So Ukrainian energy market in the form of transition. As for anyone who is looking at it as an investment opportunity and coming to play, there's anything that has a transition has the opportunities that are probably not easily found in more developed markets. We now have an increased 2.1 gigawatt of cross-border flow between Ukraine and Europe. So that opens a completely different level of interaction on the power flows between the European markets and Ukrainian markets. As the structural changes are taking place, going from their concentrated generation to the distributed generation to the renewable generation, everything with the adding additional maneuverable capacities. So that's from the market and trading optimization point of view, creates additional opportunities in the midterm to the longer term, because you could be from the net buyer to net seller to the European markets, and you also can balance the European markets. So as such, it becomes a growth stories. And if we look beyond when the war is over, the growth stories, which brings in new technologies, new investments in the storage, renewables, wind, solar, distributed generation. But it will be I would say, uncorked from the market point of view, because it will have access to operate not only for the Ukrainian consumption, but also European consumption. And that's unique. So at this point of time, subject to the risk appetite, but with the tremendous support that's coming from the Ukrainian government, ministry and regulator, system operator, this is the right time to start coming in, taking the position, because the market growth opportunities, and I'm speaking from the purely as the person who runs the competitive trading optimization business for the government, this is a story to be in. And I believe that has to be factored in, not just simply selling the equipment, but looking at it as the putting a foot in the growth market story, which, by the way, will also be welcome for the European energy markets, given that they have some structural and other constraints. So that's I believe it's a really good story and optimistic story from my vantage point.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that it is really very important direction for cooperation, and I think within joint efforts we will be able just to scale up it in the future. And Dmitro, finally I can reach you with my question. As we know that this year the contract on the gas transit ends, and how do you prepare our gas transmission system to this new reality, and what challenges do you see in this situation?
Thank you. To start, I'd like to thank you first of all for giving the word, but before we go to presentation, I hope it will be appearing on the screen. I would like to reinforce the words from Vitaly, because indeed investment community sees energy market as a premium market in Ukraine for at least 4 to 5 years. And practically we can comment, we are new players on this market. We just launched kind of some capacities for generation, but my September EBITDA on this segment is 25%. On market prices for gas, working on a day-ahead market for electricity, which is huge, I believe. So, and now let's go back to gas market. So before, while presentation is appearing, I'd like to tell several words that indeed we are prepared as a gas transmission system operator. It's not only about ending up the transit, because we had 2 times already transit stopped. If you remember, 2009, 2018, several days we stopped, not we, but somebody from the northern side stopped the transit, and we were able to operate normally in this condition. So basically system is quite well prepared. But for the last years, we not only improved our efficiency and capabilities of compressor capacities, but we also improved our capacities on the cross borders. And while Slovakia was kind of a normally big receiver of the gas, so basically the large capacity provider for us in case reverse flow is required, but we also grew our capacities on northern side from Poland. We improved our interconnection agreement in terms of capacity with Hungary, and what is most important, we started to bring firm capacities on south, which is an area where gas surplus is expected to appear. Actually, it is already there, and the average spread for this year, for summer period, between, let's say, Bulgaria prices and TTF prices were about 8 to 10 euros, which made gas from this area flow to central part of the Europe through different routes, but also through the route which we now provide through Romania, Ukraine, Moldova, and then to the west to Slovakia and further. It is also important to say that with this sacral date coming in 1.5 months, we are seeing that the routes of transportation of natural gas, they are changing from what we see in horizontal movement to kind of vertical movement, because now key sources of potential supply of Ukrainian customers, consumers, may come from north, from Polish, let's say, Baltic LNG terminals, but also from south. As I told, development of LNG capacities in Greece, development of interconnection between Greece, Bulgaria, Bulgaria, Romania, and Romania, Ukraine is going on, and we are moving towards bringing extended capacity on this route. We are now have this wonderful initiative of operators of these countries, which is called Vertical Corridor, and we are quite moving ahead with this initiative to bring up to 20 million cubic meters on a daily basis to our country as a potential for consumption, but also it is a potential for traders, for customers to keep this gas in our underground storages during the summer period, and during withdrawal period it can be utilized elsewhere. Finally, we would like to say that transmission system is not only thinking about developing capacities, but we also look at internal issues and new challenges that are appearing with our situations that we have. One of the key elements of our resilience is constant, let's say, testing of our system in terms of analytical testing, of hydraulic testing with underground system storage operator, with producers. So basically we constantly do this stress test. We have unimaginable apocalyptic scenarios analyzed within the systems. And we now know all the weak points. We do whatever is needed to be done to protect these weak points, and we believe we are quite successful with that. We are moving on with electricity generation as a part of the whole program that is being developed in Ukraine, and as I just mentioned, we not only see it as a social influence that this program brings with this development, but it also economically very much attractive for investors, for producers of equipment. And thank you all of our partners that we've met yesterday and today that came here to discuss our potential projects for 2025 as well. We strongly believe this segment will grow very fast. Finally, I would like to mention what was already said before, the potential of agricultural sector in terms of biomethane production. It was calculated by biomethane associations that the potential of this industry can grow to up to kind of 5 to 7 billion cubic meters, which is huge. And what we see now on the market is that these production sites started to grow very fast, of course, mainly in the western and central regions. But that is something that brings a good value to a value chain of agricultural sector. And we, as a part of that, we are doing a lot of stuff to bring biomethane into the system. We're doing creative solution with DSOs to make biomethane more affordable in terms of bringing it to the system and to deliver it to the customers. And most importantly, the most recent development is the ability to export biomethane. It is now kind of still, there are some bureaucracy issues that we have to resolve within the community, but it looks that we will be able to do so in the very nearest future, like weeks. And this will allow our producers actually get this margin from European customers that we actually are targeting for. I think that's all main messages I wanted to tell, to deliver. So we will be working, don't worry. Gas will be there. If you want to install capacity for generation of electricity from gas turbines, gas pistols, please do it. It is not only needed, but it is also economically attractive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dmytro, for your detailed description. Yes, so on our future plans on absolutely new gas transmission system. And maybe some words, Vitaly, you want to add to this presentation?
Yeah, I was reflecting, listening representation, and Dmitry's and others, and I thought there's a lot of interest, obviously, for the recovery of Ukraine. Energy sector is prime target. Donors, IFIs, investors want to come in. There's a lot of discussion where help needs to go, equipment, etc. And yet there is one word that on everyone's mind, but it's never been kind of discussed publicly. The word is the risk. And I think this is one factor that actually is preventing from opening the gates for coming in. The risks are many. They are much more complicated during the time of war, but they are not unmanageable. And if there's one takeaway I would like to leave with you, that you look at Energy Company of Ukraine as your partner in risk. We were created to manage risks domestically for investors, to manage risks, market risk, regulatory risk, legal risk, to manage and entice and provide the necessary, I would say, direct support for the investors, for the donors, for IFIs, to expand on and implement the programs, investment programs, which are so badly needed across the aisle. Ukrenergo, Centrenergo, Ukrhydroenergo, GDSO, this is something that if you want to remember one thing about why Energy Company of Ukraine is here, is to help you manage risks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think this discussion highlighted this incredible contribution of all our energy company leaders in Ukraine. Really, all they worth applauses. Thank you very much. Their synchronized efforts, combined with international support, I'm sure will lead us to creating this resilient, sustainable, distributed energy system. I also encourage all of you to ask additional questions and to hold additional discussions after this panel in order to identify new potential and interesting projects and launch new initiatives. Thank you for your attention. Hope to see you soon.